Is day 200 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Mazel tov to all of us who reached this round number, and we continue to accomplish more round numbers in the future. Today we are doing Siman Kuf Mem Vav Siv Zayin through Siman Kuf Mem Zayin Siv Vav. You would like to sponsor our upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, it'll be very greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Siv Zayin, because since you're involved in the Indian of at that time. The Bir Halacha says that that's specifically when there are 10 people who are listening. So evidently the Bir Halacha is understanding you're doing it at the same time, but you are not actively listening to the Kriya. It's just not considered a chutzpah to the Kriya. There are some people in Machmer says Shulchan not to help the Koreh from with Chumash. I'm not sure what that's referring to. There are those that say it's appropriate to read together with the Shliach Tzibor in an undertone. The Bezayah says so that makes easier to mechavin. So he doesn't say that in the context of Shnai Mikra Bechot Targum, but that is how many people, including myself, do Shnai Mikra Bechot Targum, doing our first or second Mikra together with the Shliach Tzibor. V'okas Rabbeinu Beis Yosef Kol Zayin Enu Inyan LeParshas Zohar Parshas Parah Shem Basar Midoraisa. There, you don't read an undertone because Shetzot Cham L'Sham Me'ik Koreh here with the cloth from the Koreh. Anachon and the Arishon says that it's best Shebachol Parshios where the Medakti Ma'asav some is meticulous in his deeds. It's more appropriate than Mechavim Daito L'Sham Pi'ab Koreh to hear them as opposed to reading on the undertone because of the advantage of hearing from the cloth. But Saper, you're also not allowed to talk. Shamafti Koreh Navi when the Mafti is reading the Navi and She Yashlim until he completes his the Haftarah. Come over Sefer Torah Kan L'Shono. Just like a Sefer Torah. I said the Arukh HaShulchan says that was till you start going to Beis Yosef again. So Hanachon evidently is part and parcel of what the Beis Yosef says, not part of the Arukh HaShulchan says. Ches, Kosar was saying about the Shulchan Aruch, Ein tzorach la'amod mu'umad, one need not stand based on Torah when one reads the Torah. V'yesh machmir omdim some machmir do stand. Chen asla ma'aram akal l'shono. Karkosam is ever Kuf Namasi Beis wrote that it's appropriate to stand. Ein tzorach mo'ivnei Sefer Torah b'shava sholech. You only stand for the Sefer Torah when it is in movement. Mishabur so machmir say as when it's in movement, then you're not allowed to even to support yourself on something. Back to Arukh was standing on the bima. Even those people who are standing there by the bima do not have to stand. Ben Gavra Gavra and between Aliyah's Tritish Mutar shape obviously allows us down. However, when the Koreh says Baruch and you answer Baruch Hashem Baruch Lambad, Tzichem Lamod, you have to stand. The code Davish Beklusha Tzichem Lamod Aglaim. One has to stand on one's feet. Many people do not do that. And it's unclear to me what they're relying on, and when they don't stand up for the Baruch Hu and the Baruch Hashem Baruch Hu Lamboy. Kuf Mem Zayin Dini Aglila v'Hagba v'Asla Chos Sefer Torah b'Yadav Arum. Aglila Hagba and prohibition to hold the Sefer Torah in your hand when it's unwrapped. It's important to note here that. The Glila comes here before Hagba because according in the Dotam Mizrach, they first roll it and then they pick it up, if I recall correctly. Yes, okay. Let us see the Arukh HaShulchan. Aleph. Also, Lechos Sefer Torah Arum Blom with Pachas now let us Sefer Torah naked, so to speak, without a kerchief. Chachamru Chazav Shabbos Okay Sefer Torah Arum. Somebody holds the Sefer Torah when it is naked. Avad also mitzvah shlesak, but he loses that mitzvah which he is involved with. In Lamaba, whether it's you learned it or galasa or wrapped it, won't receive reward neither on learning nor on the wrapping. I should say really the rolling. That's what it says by the 18 Xerish which Beishamai made to control the base medrash. The Yodam Shul B'Sefer Torah posting Masar Truma hands which touch the Sefer Torah when then to Truma possible the Truma. Because of that, they decreed this. So people take care not to touch the Sefer Torah without a kerchief. But that was only a first stage in the series. Of course, in the second stage, they said all hands pasul tuma. This is one of the 18 zeros. So we made zero too. Obviously, hands that touch the sefer are included in this zero. Low guarding magri and mistamidai. They're no worse than generic hands. Because Abraham Perush Shnais Biyadayim, they use Chadesh Hagzera at the Stam Yadayim when they made the general Gzera of Stam Yadayim are Pasul Truma. Also, when we showed the first issue of touching a Sefer Torah, passing hands was no longer in effect. It's no longer because it's included in the general Takara. Based on push movement the Beseichel, it's logical to understand that there is a difference between the first Gzera and the second Gzera. The Gzera, the Stein Dime posting Besatuma. The second Gzera was that generic hands pasul Truma. Time should be a dime Maskana saying because hands are busy. The Shema no good Melakom Shenokim may touch a place which was not clean. Peter said they're according to Simnogam Truma Miyarachan and Tios Yadayim. If your hands touch Truma immediately after you wash, had Truma Torah, the Truma star. Ava big Gzera, we showing according to the first Gzera. Time for you go to Sefer Torah. The reasons they shouldn't touch the Sefer Torah. Mali come to Tios Yadayim, Mala Achan and Tios Yadayim. What difference does it make whether you washed or whether you didn't wash? Also, the bank Achamaker also got Sefer Torah below have Sigma, but regardless, now they touch the Sefer Torah without an interruption of a kerchief. Can't go so the same body touch the Shabbat Shalom. Now, does vu in Rishon, but from the language of Rambam, it sounds like they rejected the first concept. It sounds like the Stam Yadayim, which is a problem when they touch the Sefer, is only when they touch without Natilas Yadayim, the Truma afterwards. The located if that's the case, that's the case. Hare lo ozvu in Rishon. They didn't leave the first matter behind. So let's back up a bit. He wants to say that the according to the first Gezerah, you're not allowed to touch the Sefer Torah whether you washed or whether you didn't wash. That doesn't make a difference because anytime you touch you're not allowed to touch the Sefer Torah. Anytime you touch the Sefer Torah, it passes your hands. Obviously, Chazal, they don't want you to touch the Sefer Torah at all. Washing would not do any good, right? What happens according to the second Gzera? According to the second Gzera, Stam Yadayim Ratami. But what happens if you wash them? Can you then touch the Sefer Torah because you washed your hands? In other words, before, according to the first Gzera, you're never supposed to touch the Sefer Torah. Maybe according to the second Gzera, you shouldn't touch the Sefer Torah because Yadayim Maskoni said once you wash your hands, you can't touch the Sefer Torah. And that's what Arukh goes on and says in Gimel. The nearly Shizeu Tama Mordechai. Shebei Rabbinu says the Sefer Kodesh Kasadi Nata Yodav L'Siach Dato. If you did wash your hands and you didn't get distracted, Mutzar Lechos Arum, you can hold the Sefer Torah naked. But Gemara Sabbeinu Rama B'Sefer Darki Moshe Chelek was in. It's true the Rama argues on this. Ayin Sham. Chelek Tivir Mordechai Tzmuin. The words of Mordechai seem to be astonishing. There's a time Yeshbaz of what logic is there in this. So once you wash, you can touch the Sefer Torah. But he wants to say that's what according to Rambam works out well. The Zen is Chadesh Achar Gzera Shnei Mishum Lo Pluk. After the second Zera, they determined that, you know what do we want you to do? We want you to wash your hands before you eat Truma. Or for that matter, for us, before we eat bread, right? And that way, your hands are going to be tar when you eat the Truma, when you touch the Truma, when you're eating the bread. And in other words, we require an Netilas Yadayim. And then you can go touch the Truma. So the Sefer Torah, they didn't want to distinguish between it and anything else which is Kadosh. And therefore, after you wash the Netilas Yadayim, you can, just like you touch Truma, you can also touch the Sefer Torah. According to that's what Rambam learned, that in that way the second Gzera uprooted the first Gzera. The first Gzera was never touch the Sefer Torah. And if you touch the Sefer Torah, it makes your hands tummy, even if you just washed. According to the second Gzera, once you washed, the Sefer Torah is like Truma and you're allowed to touch it. Okay? According to the Mordechai. Rabbeinu Amalek B'Shittas HaTosfos, they're not allowed to touch Sefer Torah anyway. V'emes Yedivya Rambam B'Chibur Perek Sefer Torah Dinvav Mashma Gam Kein. It sounds also not like the Mordechai. Shekos of also the Chos Sefer Torah a room. Now it's called Sefer Torah naked, ayin sham, v'lochil ben lifnei netila lachan netila. Didn't distinguish whether it's before you wash or after you wash. Shechet ikar ledina, and that is the primary halacha, never to touch the Sefer Torah without an interruption. That's why the B'Yisrael did not bring this in the Shulchan Aruch. Dalit, because Rabbeinu Ramav Yeshua Ndu Adin B'Shar Kisvei Kodesh. Other Sifrei Kodesh like Nach, which is in Klaf, Asalechos Aron B'Lo Mikpachas. Now we're told naked without a kerchief, Lo Nagukein, and that's not the minute. But Tov Lachmirim Lo Natal Yodav. That's why Simachim you didn't wash your hands. Say if you look like Gavnos, and say if you wash your hands, it's also Ad Kan L'Shana. The Tzarech B'Yadus requires analysis. V'nei Das Yesharim with Taisus Shabbos Shom. So this Yesharim is in Taisus and Shabbos. B'Zel L'Shainai Ha'ochei Sefer Torah. This is in Shabbos. Yudal Amrav. The Ochei Sefer Torah a room. Someone else Sefer Torah naked. Ksas Mashma. The laptop of Sefer Torah. It seems that it's not just the Sefer Torah. The Kokis V'Koshnem Sels Yadayim says in B'Sel Yadayim all holy writ. M'tamei es Yadayim is M'tamei hands. Agol Shalom. Doesn't follow to say that because of M'tamei Yadayim now to hold him naked. The Agam Tefillin V'Ritzus not also M'tamei Yadayim. It says by Tefillin that they're M'tamei your hands. Because Mutzah Lochson Kamashkas with his Chagila. Nevertheless, you're allowed to hold them. Elachi B'Rishutz me to say the Holchim Ushitasa. They follow their line of reasoning to the Sefer Torah. Ein Yesh Iser Gam Somach Lenatila Gzei Rishona. Sefer Torah still remains also touched even after the Tilas time, as it was the time of the first Gezerah. Can't hold it out. That's the case which it says Kokis V'Akosh Matami Adayim. That which says all Kis V'Akosh Matami the hands. Afilu V'Sachim L'Tilas even right after you wash your hands. I mean the Klam Kilo Sefer Torah Kokis V'Akosh. Heck, Kodesh. And since Sefer Torah is good with all the Kis V'Akosh, Shema Minah, it sounds like the Kulu Shavim B'Zeh. They all have the same halacha. Besides that, Kokis and Kosh Mutzalach in a room, because they are other holy writings. You're allowed to hold them naked without interruption. Ain't the most of Rakmi Gzera. Shnia Dur Chesdov, and the whole Gzera is of Tumah is from the second stage of Dur Chesdovar of Yadayim, generic Yadayim. Dur Chesdov Yadayim al Sfarim Shidmu Yadayim Mitami Shiz Baruch Sham. Right, in case some of the tila loli tama, so immediately after the tila, it shouldn't be matame. Pasha do the shar svarim, and it's obvious that other svarim are coming to be ksubim haksubim aklak mo sefer Torah. So since the Kisvei Kodesh includes everything, it must be that it's just like the Sefer Torah, but lo al svarim basim, and it's not, but it's not going on printed svarim. Hey, Bazel das yeshami. That's the Yeshom's opinion. Rabbeinu Ramah, Kamar V'Lono Guken, he says that's not the minhag. Why not? Even the being swimming which is written on clap, we hold in our hands. Like is our custom. And the reason, like the Mordechai brought, the Rambam, the Gzera Rishona also, the first Gzera is gone. So that which cookies is that's hands which are not clearly clean. And they're part of the Gzera of Dur Chesdov that any Yadayim Pasuk Truma. Today is no Truma, and therefore the Gzera no longer applies. Only Sefer Torah there remains a prohibition to hold it naked. Even though the first Gzera has been forsaken, the Samal and Tila, this is the terms of the Chumah that even right after you're not Yadayim. It's very rare a person going to touch immediately after the Natila. Much because there's the Sham, Ayin Sham. But the prohibition to not able to touch the Sefer Torah naked still exists. The Miyachol Batel said, who can negate that Gezerah if not Golem Chacham Minion from the prior but basic? Zemar Ben Ramah, the Tov Lachmir Lona Tayodav. It's best to be machir in by other svarim you didn't wash your hands. Sefer Torah feel b'chaygav also Sefer Torah even if you didn't wash your hands you should not touch it. But feel meaning if you touch it, wash your hands. But she does so, as follows his reason. The Sefer Torah also avsamach the tila. The Sefer Torah is also even adjacent to the tila. K'mo shklam b'si p'kimo. Now we come upon gam b'shar svarim not below not al yodav yesh lachmir. By other svarim also you should be machmir. It's not the same level of severity. And we time she does that because of the Tosfos opinion. In brackets, Arukh HaShulchan says, "Can you learn his like this?" His opinion. More Gavram seems to have to rach b'sev custody of Tosis. So it seems they say writes that Tosis contradict each other because Ramah and the positive must going on print the books. There's Eshkos of Tov Achir Milsi Yisera, and we should say that Tov Achir is something superfluous. Uvarenu Asi Shaper Akol V'Duk. But Arukh HaShulchan says, according to what we wrote, everything is well and good. Vav V'day Shon the Chos B'Am Mudei Sefer Torah B'Yadav Blami Pachas Nechlu B'Donim B'Zeh. To hold on to the Atzei Chaim of the Sefer Torah, it's a machlokas. Yesh Tim Tam they Rak Tashmish Kedusha. Some of them make it because they're only serving Kedusha, not actual Kedusha. Many people. Taz, B'Chodesh, Nadi B'Yehuda. Yesh Osim, but some people do forbid it, which is the Bach and the Magen Avram. V'Yigatam came in the Tanam B'Yodayim Shon the Mitami Es Yodayim. Since it says that they are Mitami Yodayim, you can't also Gabayim Arum, you're not allowed to touch them without interruption. Tzmihani, but I'm astounded, says Arukh HaShulchan. There's no prohibition to touch which is contingent on Tumas Yadayim and linked to it. Can you also grab a Tefillin Tzuz? Because then we also touch with Tefillin Tzuz, which are Matami Yadayim. But you can come out here, and therefore you can touch the Yetzir Chaim, B'chein Minag, and that is a custom. Excuse me. For ancient people who said Clown, there's no doubt about this whatsoever. And their Mishnah Berurah says somebody wants to be meticulous. He should do it in a way that other people should not notice that he's not holding on to Yetzir Chaim because that would be arrogant. Again, as we mentioned a few times in the recent past, we're holding out by days of coronavirus, and in days of coronavirus, obviously many people do not touch the Yetzir Chaim unless there is some sort of interruption, and that certainly would not be considered to be a yura at the time of this coronavirus machla. I'm sorry, middle vav. All right, and now I'm about the brackets above. We're going to have Ram Hol Shitasti Kotan out. The Tosis Shabbos Soivrim. The Toli Zebazeh. He holds the Tosis holds are connected. Ibrahim Emes also got Tefillin Mezuzah. According to them, he also touched Tefillin Mezuzah. Choking Tosis Chagig Hashem says you're allowed to. For Biarnu, the Ibrahim Sita, we explained this. Mashkotzman got Ram Ikatam Mitamas Yodayim Shloyach Zo Arum. That the main reason that they're Matamidayim is that you shouldn't hold them naked. I shot to behind the body. Okay, that's true. That was the first Xera. Brakal Septor the Badav, Alvim was only a Septor, and the parchments. Goes to a cause for him, a call to the Mezuzahs. They were going to everything. A call Dovuklas for him. And anything which connects for him to his Yadayim, Yuchas Davar, Mitam, Shoymatzni, Shuma, Eitzel Kisvei Kodesh. And the reason that point was because they hid Shuma by Kisvei Kodesh. Not because of holding on to a naked. And more therefore not being allowed to touch and the being Matam Yadayim are two separate issues altogether. And although we're going to stop here for today, we are nowhere near finished with this topic. We're going to discuss it in Yirtzeh Hashem extension of it tomorrow.